Hi folks, today I'm going to show you how I got this roof on in one afternoon. Right, we've had a slight change of plan, folks. The weather is going to be against this week, so apparently this is the last dry spell, which means I've got to get the roof on my own in the next 3 hours. First up, here's a little bit of footage from last week when we got all of the cuts done on our roof panels. Right, it was a bit of a slow start because we had a good few hours getting all the walls finished and marked up. We're on to the last 2 sheets now, or the last 3. So we've got 8 cut. This is what they're looking like. So these are the right length now to take us from our ridge beam down to the eaves, or to the beam at the eaves, wall plate. And then you can see we've cut back the insulation on the last 150mm, because the way I'm going to do it is carry the cladding up to the bottom of this and then have a board which our gutter will hang on. But more on that when they go up. With the actual cladding panels, we've worked out that if you cut them on the white side first, when you go to flip them over, they're still quite strong, because that trapezoidal box profile is much stronger. Otherwise, if you cut it on the grey side first, as you flip it, they're bendy. So as you saw, they are now cut to length. We've done that cut back on the end, so that helps with our guttering, and we've got a bit of a drip edge. But now I've got to get these up. They're not particularly heavy. It's actually a really good lightweight roofing system compared to other options. It's about 10 or 12 kilo a square metre. But that said, they're a little bit awkward. That chicken is not meant to be in here. You're not meant to be out. Back to our roofing race. Let's get them up. First section of that tower scaffold together. It's not on the wheels because that way it can clear under the beam. It's not perfect. It doesn't have the handrails at the right height, but it's going to be safer than the step ladders. Due to the way that these laps are configured and the cutback that we've done, there are half for this side, half for that side. They're not all the same, if that makes sense. So essentially we've taken 1 6 metre long length of roofing, cut it in the middle, and it's going to form our pitch. That way the profile should match and the laps should match as well. Right, first lift, I'm thinking lean it on, slide it up and over. Right, a little bit more fiddling around and remembering to peel back the plastic before I fix it down. I'm now just going to gun a bead of expanding foam where it sits onto the other panel. Then we've got an internal and an external trim to sit over the join. One of the best things I've just realised on these is they've got an integrated double-sided tape. So instead of messing around with those like mastics or butyl tapes like we had to do on that shed build last year, these ones you just peel, sit it down and then screw, and then you've got a thermally sealed, because there's like a foam seal in there, and also the weather tight strip. So should save us some time. One of those tapes wasn't quite as sticky, so I had some extra tape in the workshop to double up. Right, we're on panel 6 of 14. This tape that I was on about that I just peeled off, nice idea, but the tape isn't a very good quality and it's not particularly sticky, and when you peel it off sometimes it's peeling off some of the actual foam as well. So this one's just about okay. When it's compressed down I imagine it seals, but it's certainly not sealing like a mastic, like a butyl tape would that's a bit more sticky. So if needed I will use some on my own on there. Well, we're getting somewhere now. I've only got 2 sheets to do. This end, well, this end of the building only really needs 2, or it needs half a sheet to finish, because otherwise we'll have a massive overhang. I want to make sure I get that right, because the overhang and also where that last ridge is will make a difference to our trim piece on the end. I can get this last section as before. This one I'm going to have to lift up from the outside. Step ladder. Stay. Well, we're not quite there yet, but that seals off the middle beam a bit more than would be if I had just left it. We've of course got the foam infill strips, which will stop kind of wind and rain being blown up, and then a capping piece which has got to be fabricated to our pitch above roof.
This is moving here.
You like it?
Yeah. Is there going to be a window here?
Right, all you need to do is peel this plastic off.
I'll peel the top ones off.
Right, you do that, sir. Huh? Come here.
I feel like I'm going to fall.
Alright, go on my shoulder, come.
Don't worry, my wellies are fine.
And then just pull down.
Which way?
Cut. Bye, thank you. They always sweep in for the glory bit, don't they? Well, there we go, we're losing light. We've got that little half strip to do on the end here, but then we're all pretty much weathered in and done. There's some additional fixings to put in on the eaves, but for now, everything is solid. It's not going anywhere. There's also all the stitching screws that join the laps, and that will close up a few of these seams that you can see underneath, so it's a little bit more flat all the way along underneath. But I'm pretty impressed. By the time we've got our rows of strip lighting all the way along here, or panels, flat panels, it's going to look great. So there we go. Quick and easy, efficient, and hopefully warm and cool in the summer. Right guys, as promised, let's look very quickly at costs and info and why I went this route. Firstly, this is a 2.5 metre limit. We're permitted development right up against the boundary, so our only option really is a flat roof or something like this. Flat roof is going to be felt, EPDM, fiberglass, that sort of thing. As far as a pitched roof, you're pretty much limited to this type of sheet material, whether it's corrugated or box profile like this. You're not going to get away with tiles or slates or anything like that at this pitch and this height of building, unless your walls are very, very low. So the benefit of this is, of course, I can go really, really low pitched. It's structural in itself. You can span 2 meters easy with these 80mm panels. This trapezoidal shape on top is giving it that strength. And even once they're fixed in, I was hanging and dangling off them just to see how much flex was there, and it's just very, very minimal. So no worries there. If you had a narrower building, you could go front to back, no need for any timbers at all. In our case, we had a single beam down the middle. So our whole roofing timber, cost total was £140. I think I paid for that Douglas fir beam, and that's it, all done. So remember, if you're trying to compare this to something else, let's look at a flat roof. We did plenty of that a couple of years ago on the garage roof conversion. Flat roof joists over that span would be, even if you're going every 400 centimeters, probably 200mm joists, or I don't know, probably even more than that. And then you've got to deck out the top in OSB. Then you've got to buy your EPDM. Then you've got to stuff your insulation either on top of that deck, and you can't really keep that under the 2.5 meter limit, or you go under the deck. And then you've got to, vapor barriers. Then you've got no thermal break unless you're going insulated plasterboard or insulation underneath the joist. And it's just, it costs a lot more. I mean, no one buys an EPDM roof for the looks, or a fiberglass roof for the looks. So you can't really complain on aesthetics. It's completely thermally broken across the whole roof. Every single sheet has a foam join. It's basically PIR to PIR all the way across. You've got an instant weatherproof top to it. Your fixings are very minimal. I think probably £30 did the whole roof, plus your little bit of trim that you've got on the ridge and the barge. But apart from that, and you've got a pretty finished ceiling underneath. If you didn't want that, you could board it or clad it underneath, and then we'll be going into that with how we're dealing with the walls. But it seems like a very efficient option for a garden building like this. I can't really see too many negatives. If you know commercial buildings, this is just bread and butter, and it's, I'm just preaching to the choir here, but if you're not familiar with all those big buildings and warehouses and supermarkets, then you probably haven't thought about perhaps using it as a domestic option, and it seems like a good one to me. So I like to experiment with different things, and outbuildings, sheds are perfect, playgrounds for DIY. You can try different techniques, different materials, and just see what works, what doesn't work. And this is just one big experiment, this workshop, and I haven't found too many negatives with this system. But like I said, I'm going to go into a big info full video in the future. Cost wise, this 80mm roofing is about £30 a square metre, just over. But then you've got to remember that that's the top weatherproof layer, the underside, and the insulation all in. So it can be a very cost effective route to go. I'm going to leave a link to the place where we bought ours, which was Panel Cell. We found them on eBay, but I think they ship anywhere in the UK. So I'll put the link down below. They do a 40mm panel as well. So if you weren't spanning quite the same amount and you're happy with 40mm, then that would be a more cost effective option as well. So there we go. I'm going to leave it there. As I said, I'll go into a bigger video on this in the future. We've just about finished the roof today. There's a little bit of trim to order still for that ridge, and then I'm just working out the gutter detail and the barge boards as well. But there we go. Instant roof, a good afternoon, and just in time because it's been hammering it down all this week. It's a DIY win in my eyes, but there we go. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you can, do it yourself, and we'll see you next time.